Alright, so welcome back to Dell of Merchants Collection. So for this video, we're going to talk about the mischievous Tasmanian devils. Now, maybe you're aware of this, maybe you aren't, but Tasmanian devils are carnivores, and they're the only living, that we know of anyway, the only living marsupial that is a carnivore. Now, there might be some out there that are sort of omnivores, maybe because they eat insects or something like that, but these guys actually eat meat. And they're extremely aggressive, okay? You do not want to run into one of these in the wild because they are just extremely aggressive. Now, they're not big, necessarily. They're pretty small, but they've still got a very nasty attitude, especially to humans. But, with that said, that means that this animal merchant here is going to be an aggressive, obviously, set of cards, okay? And remember, there was 4 aggressive sets of cards for the animal merchants in this game, so we finally got to the last one, the 4th one. So let's get started talking about these guys. Now, these guys are shrewd tricksters. Okay, this one's got a plus icon on it. This technique is going to let you discard 2 random cards from another player's hand, one by one. That player draws 2 cards from their deck and places them into their hand. So this is useful. Okay, and usually you know what your opponent just bought from market. And when your opponent buys a card from market, what's going to happen? They're going to get to put it into their hand. Okay, and then they're going to draw more cards until they have 5 cards in hand usually, right? Well, if you know what card they just bought from market, and you decide to play this at that exact moment, because they are shrewd after all, there's a chance that one of the 2 random cards that you discard is the one they just purchased. So you could probably try to prevent them from getting to use it early, obviously. So definitely, this one's a really good one for sure, especially if you want to take advantage of that. So that's how the shrewd tricksters work. Okay, so let's talk about the next one. Now this one is disruptive speech. It also has a plus icon on it. I liked this one a lot too. Swap another player's discard pile and deck. That player shuffles their new deck. Disruptive speech. I really liked that one a lot. I used this quite a bit. It was a blast. I really enjoyed this one a lot. Especially when they had a few cards in their discard pile and they were like mostly junk cards or something like that. Their deck would then become their, discard pile, and their discard pile would now be their deck. So it definitely can be advantageous, to say the least. Okay, the next one. This one is tit for tat. Another one with the plus icon on it. This one you're going to search another player's discard pile for up to 2 cards. That player shuffles them into their deck. So, probably some junk cards in their discard pile, right? So basically you get to search through their discard pile, pick those 2 junk cards out of their discard pile, and then that player is going to have to shuffle those junk cards into their deck. So that's a really good one too. Tit for tat. Okay, now let's do the next one. The next one is Shameless Rummage. Okay. With this one, you'll draw 3 cards from another player's deck. Place any of them on their discard pile, and then have that player shuffle the rest into their deck. Oh, I like this. You draw 3 cards. What if they're all junk cards? Well, then just let them shuffle those junk cards back into their deck, right? That's what anyone would do. Or, if they're all really good cards, maybe there's 2 really good cards and one's a junk card, well, discard those 2 good cards and put their junk card back into their deck, shuffling it. So Shameless Rummage is definitely another really good one. I also really like that one a lot, obviously. Okay, now it's time for some equality. Now, by the looks of it, it looks like a nice card, right? We've got some bowl of fruit, and it does say equality, right? Doesn't that sound nice? Well, let's see. With this technique here, another player draws 3 cards from their deck. Ooh, your opponent is going to get to draw 3 cards from their deck. And they're going to get to place them into their hand. Places them into their hand. Well, isn't that nice, right? You're actually helping your opponent out. They're going to get to draw 3 cards, into their deck, and then they get from their deck and they get to place them into their hand. Isn't that a nice card, right? Oh, but wait, there's more. Then discard as many random cards from their hand, one by one. So now they draw 3 more cards. It doesn't matter what those are, but now 3 random cards from their hand is going to get discarded. Back down to, obviously, the number it originally was, which was probably 5 cards in their hand. It is called equality, so that seems like, an equal trade. Letting your opponent draw 3 cards, but now 3 random cards are going to get discarded. Well, maybe your opponent will get lucky, and your opponent's junk cards will be the ones that get discarded. Who knows? But still, that is awesome. I like equality quite a bit. Okay, now this one I might even like even more. The last one in this set. Public humiliation. Okay, this one, you'll discard 2 random cards from another player's hand, one by one. Search their discard pile for 2 cards and place them into their hand. So you discard 2 random cards. It doesn't matter what they are. Maybe one of them is good, maybe one of them isn't. But then you get to look through their discard pile, probably junk cards, right? Placing those junk card piles into their hand. Now, the only time this isn't going to be useful to play is if your opponent doesn't have a discard pile, because the 2 cards you randomly take from their hand is going to go to their discard pile, and if they don't have a discard pile, that means the 2 cards that they just put in their discard pile are now going to go back into their hand. So there's definitely a time to use this, for sure. But I really like this one a lot. Public humiliation. Now, that's the entire set for the mischievous Tasmanian Devils. And so thank you guys for watching this video. Don't forget to leave a like if you guys liked this particular merchant as well. And I'll see you guys in the next video.